So here we are at the computer. I've got the microcontroller here running some of the firmware, and it's got on this little breadboard for ease of connection. And I've got 6 wires hooked up here. I've got 2 sets of ground, 2 sets of 5 volts. Oh, sorry, when I say ground I mean 0 volts, same thing. And then analog 0 and analog 1 are hooked up here. And those wires all connect to those 2 potentiometers for the X and Y axes. So the center one goes to the analog inputs, and then the edge ones go to 0 and 5 volts. They might be backwards, doesn't really matter. So in the final version, this will have a proper PCB and it will fit in the underside of that. At the moment I've just got the wires poking out the side, why not, it'll do for now. So I'm running Windows, and so Windows has got a tool called joy.cpl. It's an old school component of Windows that's been around since Windows 3.1. It hasn't changed very much. So here's what the microcontroller is telling Windows about our joystick. So it says it's got 6 axes and 32 buttons and a point of view hat. Obviously it's a bit less detailed than that at the moment. We've only got 1 stick. You see if I move the stick around, I don't know if you can see it, but that cross, the little plus sign in the center there is moving slightly. That's because it hasn't been calibrated yet. So let's run a quick calibration. And you just move it to all the extremes. It's a bit hard to do with one hand, but I'm just moving the joystick through the full range of motion. Next. We'll do all the other axes, and they exist. And now, hey, let's see if the, there we go. Done. Oh no, the lid came off because I haven't screwed it down. But that's the gist of it. So I can hook up the twisty axis, put that on probably Z axis or X rotation, whatever. That'll go into analog 2 something. On the final version there'll be a button on the PCB that you press, and then you wiggle all the axes and press all the buttons, and it will learn what is connected to what, whether it's an analog or analog input like the tilting or the turning, or a digital input like the button press, and then it'll automatically map them through to axes and buttons depending on whether they're analog or digital. That's the idea. So my next step for this prototype is to enlist this old project here, which has 6 potentiometers in it, and this is for a flight simulator. So these are the rudder trim, elevator trim, aileron trim, something like that. So this has a different microcontroller to this one, but they're the same family. I think they're both 32U4s. So I'm going to hook up the logic and the comms such that this can pass through the values of all the knobs through to this as extra axes, and then this will present them to the computer. That's the plan. Okay, bye bye.